since I was about 6, and I've been to a lot of caves, never been afraid before this to go in one. When I was about 7 or 8 years old, I started having this reoccurring dream. I would have it at least once or twice a year. No, I would have it at least twice a year. Always the same, even though I would realize I was dreaming after the first few iterations. I would fall asleep and dream of being in a cave and going into this little hole in the bottom. Inside, I would see a 10 to 15 foot long corridor about 2 to 4 feet high. At the end, it would always turn left, and I always saw a bent red stop sign at the end, like someone ripped off the top 2 feet and tossed it in. But I would always follow the corridor. I would turn and walk past the sign despite being scared, despite many times knowing what was there, and the corridor would start descending, quickly opening up into a large vertical chamber with the path leading down in a corkscrew. Everything became blurry at this point, but it was always the same. I saw trash scattered on the walls. I saw the pit leading down to a curved floor. I saw things undefined, animals or people or something else at the bottom. And I saw my family, each with one of the things being tortured and killed every time, and I could never do anything. After I saw that, I would be stuck for a few seconds in it until I felt more than saw everything turn and look at me. And I would wake up, not like a normal dream where you just drift off to consciousness, or a nightmare where you bolt up in fear, but like something pushed me out, like I wasn't supposed to be there. So I have this dream multiple times a year until I turn 15. I did tell a friend about the dream before what happens next. My father decided to take us to some caves we had never been before, one of which was Dog Drop. It was likely named so because someone either threw their pet in there, or a coyote fell in and the body was later discovered. Dog Drop had roughly a 30-foot rappel straight down to enter. I went down with my brother while my father waited up at the top. There was a hole in the ground. I started to feel uneasy though. I didn't know why, so I followed my brother into the hole. I felt worse as I moved down. And when I looked up, I saw the same corridor, the same turn, the same wall, the same bottles at the corner. And I instantly was hit with this overwhelming sense of nausea and fear and being watched, and everything was screaming at me to leave. I froze and must have made some noise because my brother turned around and asked what was wrong. I managed to say I wanted to leave now and climbed out as quickly as I could, followed immediately by my brother. We packed up and left, never having gone back and never will. Haven't told anyone what actually happened, just that I wasn't feeling well and they forgot pretty quickly. The thing that really makes it creepy for me is I've never had the dream again. Year after year I would have it consistently, but it just stopped after that. But I still remember it, and I still feel afraid, almost an external fear when I think of it. I think I've heard that one before, actually. Okay, I'm gonna find another one. Let's do the scariest thing I've had happen while camping. So I live in Eastern Oregon, and my mom lives in Western Oregon. I went to visit her for the summer, and she's very outdoorsy. So we decided to take the 1-hour drive from our city to the coast. We end up at this free campsite at the top of the hill, huge foothills of the coastal mountains, about a 25-minute drive from the top where the campsite is to the bottom, where the main road was. And we were the only campers there. We relaxed for the rest of the day. We made food, etc. A truck full of men drive up the hill and talk with my mom. I don't know what about. Wasn't suspicious at the time, and then they leave. Fast forward to the middle of the night. I wake up to my mom sitting straight up in the tent. I awake easily, so I heard her gasp, and it woke me. As soon as she saw I was awake, she put her hand over my mouth because I was starting to ask her what was wrong. Oh, I hate this. It was dead silent, and all of a sudden, you hear footsteps right beside the tent. The little flap that covers the zipper was even moving. Thankfully, my mom has quick wits and said very, very loudly, "Kenny, grab the gun." Kenny is my dad, although that doesn't matter. And mind you, he was not there, just us girls, like I previously said. They left. No harm was done. Thank the Lord for my mama. It's creepy. say that. Okay. Anyway, I was living with my boyfriend and 3-year-old daughter at the time. My bedroom had a large fireplace that had been boarded up and painted over. I decided to push my bed up against it one day while I was rearranging things. It was like a headboard. That night, around 1 a.m., I heard a small voice saying, "Mom, Mom, Mommy." I had sat up in bed but didn't see anything, so I reached over my boyfriend trying to grab my daughter and put her in our bed. I kept feeling around and I was still hearing the voice, but I couldn't feel her. My boyfriend woke up and turned the bedside lamp on and asked me, "What the hell are you doing?" I explained that Amelia was trying to get into our bed and I was reaching for her. There was nobody there. My daughter was sound asleep in her room. Then the next night came, around 1 a.m. again. My dog had started to whimper at our door, so my boyfriend got up to take him outside. You know that feeling in a bed when someone lies down next to you, where the bed pushes in and there's a warmth in your back? I felt that, so I assumed my boyfriend had come back to bed. I rolled over. My boyfriend wasn't in the bed, and I felt the bed release the pressure. Whatever was laying next to me had gotten up in that second. I moved my bed the next day to the other side of the room, and I never had another incident in the 2 years I remained in that house. I believe it. I'm so gullible. Okay, I think this is another creepy house one. When my grandparents bought their house for a family of 10, my grandpa found a fake wall upstairs. He tore it down to make room for the family. Behind the wall were children's clothes and play toys, almost like they walked off the room in a hurry. My mom told me stories of sitting in her room and something circling the walls around her, sounding like wallpaper being torn. When she moved out, my aunt moved into the same room. She would wake up with pictures she hung up laying on her chest in the morning. My cousins also have stories of hearing footsteps coming up the stairs and stopping outside their door in the middle of the night. I still don't go upstairs to their house because it's always cold, and I get weird vibes up there. Even in my adult life, I have scary dreams that take place in their upstairs. Okay, here's a really short one. At the time, I was around 14. I'd asked my dad to wake me up early that morning at about 5 a.m. because I had some work to get done. That morning, I was woken up, and I flung my legs over the side of my bed. I felt a tug on both of them. What I thought at the time was just my dad trying to get me to hurry up. I reached over to pick up my phone and turned it on. 3:30 a.m. and I looked over at the black figure I assumed was my dad, and it was gone. I don't know. I'm not creeped out. I'm not. Okay, let's read this one. I lived in an old apartment in 2002. The place was built in 1900, so it was just over 100 years old when I moved in. The living room and kitchen were fine, but the bathroom and bedroom were unnerving. Like, I just always felt like I was being watched, especially in the bedroom if the closet door was open. Those unnerving feelings just became moderately uncomfortable as I settled in. I felt safe in the bedroom, but only if the door was locked. One night, I was dead asleep when there was a loud bang on my bedroom door. When I got up the courage to get out of bed, I maybe I just